The story of Damien Thorn, the Antichrist of the Omen films, concludes with the Omen 3, the final conflict. And this, much like the second one, is a very kind of ballsy move in that it progresses the series. Of course, with any horror series, there's going to be kind of a temptation to get into a certain kind of comfort zone. If it works, right? But I don't know, you kind of lose, I don't know, good ideas in the process, certain, evolutions of characters in the process. Think about how far, like, we've come with the Omen movies in just 3 films. We've literally seen from, like, his birth and, like, a little toddler, Damien, now to adulthood in this film. Damien's played by Sam Neill, who's incredible in the movie. Like, seriously, maybe it's strange to say, but this is like really his best performance. I think this is like the best thing Sam Neill has ever done. He's so perfect in this role as the adult Damien, who you can kind of expect uh, really has fulfilled on this prophecy of being this Antichrist, and in the same way being this. Charming, intelligent, and resourceful man who seems to be on the surface, uh, good man, but is in fact, the fucking Antichrist. So there's that, and he's risen in the world of politics. Of course, as the prophecy fulfilled or foretold. And all the obstacles are out of the way. Family dead, he inherited the company. As you may remember from the second movie, there were plans of profiting off famine in the world, and that's exactly what the Thorn Corporation has done. And Damien is seen as this philanthropist, this hero because of it. And there's talks about him running for office, and he gets political positions. He becomes actually an ambassador, just like his father, quote, Gregory Peck was in the first film. So things kind of come full circle. And of course, there are still the forces that work with him, his followers, his legion, and there are those who want to stop the Antichrist from inheriting the earth naturally. And if I can say one thing about maybe where the movie falters, it's that, okay, well, for one thing, we have Sam Neill, who's incredible. Again, I can't stress it enough. If you see this movie for any reason, it's Sam Neill and his great performance. Uh, he's the main character of the film. But you kind of think back to the previous 2 films. There's the people who want to stop Satan, and people, working together. And you think of the great cast of the first film in particular. We have the photographer working with Gregory Peck, and we have that priest kind of like shouting out the ominous messages when meanwhile they find out what he's like on morphine or something like that, and they don't quite trust him. And we have the archaeologist slash exorcist telling him the what's what, things like that. So we have, I don't know, these heroic characters who want to stop the evil. Here, there's not too many memorable good characters, right? We have this journalist lady who's, I don't know, she's all right. She has a son who's kind of being taken under Damien's wing. We have kind of Damien's, I don't know, his right hand man, basically his Smithers, if that makes sense. Kind of falling away, but you kind of feel, well, he's more a bad guy than a good guy, I guess. And we have these priests who are conspiring, and they're finding those daggers, those very important daggers that have made appearances in all the films, and they have to bring an end to the Antichrist, and that's it. And the thing is, I don't know, maybe it's just because Sam Neill's performance is so seductive and so enthralling, engaging, that the good guys of the movie that we're supposed to root for were not, too interested in. But that's not a big deal because, I mean, again, Damien is the main character, and it's about, I don't know, his perception of these events, his, I don't know, coming to terms with his own limitations in a weird kind of way, because you think, well, okay, so if everything that this whole movie series has been about has been like the antithesis to like a God and to Jesus Christ, and well, like, okay, there is the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. On the opposite side of that, there's the devil, the Antichrist, the false prophet. 666, blah blah, blah, all that. But if Jesus came back to Earth and he was a human, then he has human limitations, and then in fact, so with the devil, he would have human limitations. As the son of the devil, he's a little cocky in this movie, but for everything where you think he's kind of being, very cold and calculated. What's so great about Sam Neill's performance is that you can tell underneath it all he's scared. He has the human vulnerabilities. So we kind of think back to that unsure kid from the second film who doesn't quite know what to make of himself. So he's not the hot shit that he maybe makes himself out to be. So that's brilliant, I think. And there's a great scene where he's monologuing to the Christ statue, where essentially, I mean, like the whole plot of it is that as told in Revelation, everything from Revelations is coming to be, which includes the Antichrist, but that also includes the second coming of Jesus Christ. So, and these like bad news for the Antichrist, right? Because I mean, the revelation in Revelation is supposed to be that the good Christ will come back and wipe out the bad Christ, the Antichrist, Damien. So that's his big fear, and he's like doing all this like Game of Thrones shit, like wiping out all the firstborns, blah blah blah, whatever. Or maybe like Old Testament shit. Never mind Game of Thrones. But anyway, the great scene where he's talking to the statues, like Nazarene, you are weak, blah blah, blah, all that great stuff. Like, he's so great in the movie, and what it kind of boils down to, brings everything to, is Damien's vulnerability as a human, which is interesting. I mean, that's what's interesting about, you watch like a movie about Jesus, like the Willem Dafoe film, Last Temptation of Christ. It's interesting to have humanity to these deities, right? I think that's compelling. And, I mean, this review has spoilers, I'll warn you right now. What it also amounts to is his death. He has to face his own death because that's what's been foretold. And he's trying desperately at every moment of the film to stop that, but that's just how it is. So in a weird way, the movie is kind of affirming in that, okay, bad guy loses, the devil loses, and this, like, in contrast to like the previous two films where like the Ave Satini is playing Actus Dominus, whatever. At the end of this film, it's like really uplifting, kind of almost like like gospel kind of music, like angel choir kind of stuff. And so it's very uplifting, and it's like, well, good guy won. Jesus out there somewhere, and he's gonna lay the smackdown on Satan, which is good. I mean, if the previous two movies kind of left like a sour taste in your mouth that, oh, bad is overcoming, bad is winning, then this film, I think, brings everything to I guess where it should be, and that good overcomes. That's what we like to hear in movies, isn't it? I mean, that's what we like from movies, that's what we like from books, that's what the Bible tells people at the very end. Good will overcome. So it's a good message. Maybe life isn't always, a perfect book in and of itself. It's beginning, middle, and end. But in our stories, I suppose we can allow ourselves that. But the funny thing that happens along the way is that we come to care for Damien as a character. Isn't that something? Even though he's been portrayed by three different actors in three different movies, being invested, we believe this to be the same character. We kind of watched from his childhood innocence to his pre-adolescence in the second film, now to adulthood here. I don't know, almost like like a Michael Corleone kind of character. He's an anti-hero, except he's the worst kind of anti. He's literally the Antichrist. So what a better anti-hero than the Antichrist, isn't it? Sam Neill sells it. It's fantastic. I love the movie. I love the trilogy. Again, I think this ends things very appropriately, and I think it's a consistent and, I don't know, just a very satisfying trio of films. Unfortunately, they made another one. They made a fourth one, unfortunately, but I guess more on that later. This is Damien's story, and as Damien's story is concluded, very definitively concluded in this film, I think they covered every aspect that they could, and I think they delivered on it with really great storytelling, really scary moments, and a lot of shocks and twists and thrills along the way. The Omen Trilogy is one of my favorites. It's fantastic. So, if you haven't had a chance to watch the Omen Trilogy, you check it out. Or even if you've just seen the first one, maybe you haven't seen the second and the third, definitely check them out. They're well worth it, in my opinion. But that'll be my review today of The Omen 3, Final Conflict. Can't recommend it enough. I love it. Stay tuned for more. If I have enough nerve, I might talk about that fourth one and maybe even the remake. Who knows? But until next time, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, I'll see you later, and stay scared.